Good morning, everybody. Just going to get my screen share going here. Okay, there we are. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully, you are here to hear about NRX's marketplace launch and also our partnership with Verde Solutions. Uh, and, the goal of this which I'll talk about a little more detail in just a moment, is really to make services beyond traditional retail supply procurement more accessible to the broker community. As you know, at NRX, actually, before I get into the NRX religion here, a couple housekeeping items. Q&A is on. Feel free to chat. I think chat is on. And then if you've got any question, audio's not working, you want to invite a coworker, etc., just send an email to webinars@NRX, and someone from our webinar team will help you out, Elizabeth or someone else. First of all, thanks so much to Elizabeth and also to the Verde Solutions marketing team for helping get this event going today. I know a lot of prep goes into these things, and then Chris and I just show up and present and talk. So two guys with you today, our panelists. So there's me, Nate Richards. I'm CEO of NRX. With me is Chris Gersh. Probably know him from around the industry, CEO of Verde Solutions, and a whole host of other energy services companies. I'll let him give a more in-depth introduction for himself in just a few moments. A couple of notes. I think I'll be in Philly and Dallas. Still not sure about Ohio. But I'm looking forward to this Trump hotel. See how that goes down. I don't know. That's a little controversial. Shannon booking Illinois TIPA at the Trump hotel. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, so this is the upcoming TIPA event schedule. As you know, I am typically at most of these throughout the year. Chris is a TIPA board member, and so I imagine he will also be attending quite a few of these. Okay, now we got the background information done. Let's talk about the agenda for the webinar today. So first off, we're just going to talk about kind of background of our two companies and kind of what is marketplace. What is the purpose of NRX bringing this idea of marketplace to our users in Sparkplug? And then I'm going to hand off and talk about how Chris and I got together. We've been talking about doing something like this actually for several years. We finally got our act together and felt like the workflow is smooth enough now really to take it to the outside world. I know Chris has been working on building out Verde for a number of years and building it to be really broker friendly. And so we'll talk about how can you use Marketplace for your brokerage, like what's our vision for how Marketplace adds new services, lets you do more within your current customer footprint, and maybe even win some customers that you wouldn't have gotten other way with a more holistic energy management capability in your back pocket. We'll talk about kind of a case study. What would it look like for an opportunity to be born in Sparkplug? We're going to look at solar today. Solar opportunity, be set up, and then what's the handoff point to Verde? And then Chris can walk us through kind of how his team takes a hold of that and helps you kind of deliver back for your customer proposal, economics, financing, and the whole bit. We're going to walk through a sample kind of case study today, and we're going to open up for questions. So hopefully that's what you came to see today. And then let's get into it. So our purpose at NRX is to make it easy to buy and sell energy in competitive markets. Full stop. All of the products that we have brought to this industry, either on the broker side or the supplier side, are targeted at making it easy to buy and sell energy, and really energy more broadly, energy services. Let me kill my Teams really quick or put myself in do not disturb mode. All right, great. Otherwise, you guys are going to be snooping on all my top secret messages for the next hour. So to make it easy to buy and sell energy, and really, I think what we're learning and what we have learned for the last 20 years doing this is that um, although retail brokerage is still by far the number one moneymaker for brokers, there is a near universal hunger to do more for customers. Like, I got to be able to do some of this other stuff for my customers. And some people are starting to take that journey in fits and starts with varying degrees of success and frankly, some failures along the way. Working with subcontractors, building kind of these one-off relationships that are very local. And I've been, I mean, just being in the industry, chatting with people over the years, it's just not been easy. I mean, there's no easy button yet for solar, for DR, for batteries, um, in front, behind the meter, charging stations, you name it, right? There's a lot of other stuff, power factor correction, predominant use studies, tax incentives, right? There's a whole portfolio of services that could be brought to the customers. I'll say of a traditional broker, someone focused primarily on retail supply. Um, but they're hard because there's a lot of it depends, and this customer, not that customer, and this state and not that state. It's very variable. There's a lot of moving pieces. Some of these services come with project management type responsibility, maybe even capital responsibility. And that is kind of getting in a little too deep for some brokers today. And we've been looking for a way to make this easier for our broker customers, frankly, for years. And we feel like this is really the solution that we're trying to bring to our customers today in Marketplace. And so I've kind of got a little slide around here around this concept of why did we bring Marketplace into Sparkplug, into our broker customers. And so what's happened over the last 10 years is that the world has changed. So there are people like Chris who've got a broker-friendly solution, which didn't exist 10 years ago, right? There was a lot of contention. There wasn't clear lines of responsibility. There was a big lack of trust in the industry. I think is still, maybe something that characterizes our industry, and not enough transparency to make people comfortable to bring some unknown vendor into one of their big customers. And so that's kind of what's going on inside the broker world. I think what's going on inside the customer world has also changed. Customers want more services. They're looking at you as their energy management consultant, not just a broker, but a true management consultant that helps them in all things energy. And they're coming to brokers saying, what else can you do for me? My board's asked me this question. I don't know the answer. You're our energy consultant. What should I? How should I? When should I? And kind of these how do I questions. And other than, selling them some RECs, which is kind of the first kind of greening type of step, what can you do about their demand? What can you do about their overall consumption? And where's the bigger story that you have to bring to these customers? So that's kind of the customer mindset. And then out in the market, there's also been some shifts. There's some new government incentives that have come out. There's more financing options today for these types of projects where you can shop around for financing. It's not like you've got a project and can't find anyone to bank it. There's multiple options. And so I really appreciate having an expert like Chris here to take us through some of that. This is not my personal area of depth. So I really appreciate having someone who is an expert. And so with Marketplace, what we're trying to do is build number one, an easy way to identify broker-friendly service providers that are in the periphery of retail supply, right? I mentioned DR, solar, the kind of go-tos, but there's so much: batteries, charging stations, power factor correction, engineering work, lighting retrofits, right? All kinds of things, getting beyond into other commodities. I'm sure the list goes on. And so that's number one. How do you discover people who we feel are broker friendly? And we can go into what that means. Number one. Number two, simplify the data sharing. Just like we're trying to simplify the data sharing between your current suppliers, retail energy suppliers, and you, without getting in between you guys. So we are not a sleeve. We are not a broker. We're not an intermediary between you and your current suppliers, and we will not be an intermediary between you and your future partners. Marketplace is just a way for us to bring this together and make it easy, just like Sparkplug does for the traditional retail supply. So that is really the concept of marketplace. And so with that backdrop, kind of the why, now Chris and I have been kind of talking just in TIPA circles for the most part over the years about, could this be done? Could you build a service where it's trusted enough, number one, and transparent enough? And as after he kind of explained to me how Verde is doing business with other brokers, it really at least got me to a point to say, okay, I think this approach is one that could work. I mean, could really work and benefit both parties. And some of it is uniquely because of Chris's background and story. So with that, Chris, I'm gonna let you take it away, and I'll be your slide guy for a few minutes to just give a background on Verde.
Well, thank you so much, Nate. As always, so articulate. You wouldn't know that you have a fourth grade reading level. No, I'm just kidding.
I as well.
Yeah, right. No, Nate and I, I'm so thankful. And we joke, he's an incredible entrepreneur, someone I have a lot of respect for, someone that has really taken something a lot of the brokerages have tried to do on themselves and just really perfected it. I'm really honored to be a part of NRX and just the community that's been developed around it. So I met many of you on this, and I want to come straight out, and many people when I talk about this, they always come up and they're like, yeah, but don't you also own a broker? And I think giving some context to that is important, and why I developed Verde Solutions was really to kind of partner with developers. I saw an opportunity owning my own brokerage from 2008 with two other partners that were really focused on the commodity side, two ex-traders that I had worked with, and they had no interest in getting into this space. They wanted to make the money, and they were kind of, it's really capital intensive, as I found out, by trial to start your own renewable energy development firm. And I'll kind of get into the context of that. But I think it's important just to kind of talk about my background and why my major motivation behind this. So I'm based out of Chicago, blue collar kid, and this is, I promise, the 5-minute version. It's a little bit longer, but I was fortunate enough. I went to University of Illinois with an aerospace engineering degree and graduated as a pilot right around 9/11. Bad timing. They had extended all the pilots 5 years, and so I took a job at the Board of Trade trading commodities down in the soybean options floor. I traded corn futures. Corn futures led to ethanol, fuel derivatives, and I became an energy trader. And so I worked there. My division got bought out by Merrill Lynch. And when I was at Merrill Lynch, the financial crisis happened. I was trading fuel derivatives, and all of a sudden, we were owned by ADM Derivatives. So I traded that and making ExxonMobil and Chevron and Oaktree tens of millions of dollars managing the portfolio. And I was, looking for alpha. I was running algorithmic systems. I got a big head at 27. My mom had a salon. My dad had a garage, little entrepreneurs. I decided to go off on my own. And I did, I was investing in companies. One was an energy brokerage company, that we were doing hedging for. And, long story short is May 6, 2010, I was managing about $36 million, which at the time, 28, 27 years old. was great, but I had raised a lot of capital from just local friends and family. 25, 50,000 here. They put it into an LLC, invested with me. Long story short is flash crash, May 6, 2010. I lost 28 million of that 36. And that really put me on my knees. And the fact that I'd raised a bunch of money from family and friends, I had $8 million left, and I had to report to the National Futures Association by the end of the month, which is kind of the governing body, my returns and everything like that. And so what I ended up doing was I could give them money back, saying it's a force majeure event, or I could buckle down and trade my way out of it. And I knew I needed some help. I was always kind of spiritual, but never a godly man. And I said, God, I hit my knees, said, if you get me out of this, I swear I will do something that will impact, that will change the world for a better place. I will figure it out. I will not trade anyone else's capital anymore. And that, and I was a multimillionaire at 27. And for me to give that up, I wanted to just like the fact, I picture my mom walking down the aisle at Jewel, for those who know, Chicago Jewel, getting his stat from someone that was in her at her health club. And so I couldn't do that. Lo and behold, God kept his end of the deal, his or her end of the deal. And I ended up, fortunately, making all back plus 12% at the end of it. I got on this crazy yen trade and made it all back plus 12%. So all 28 million plus another almost 3 million. And so I gave it back to everyone. I went to Brazil to try to figure out what I wanted to do next. I had invested in this energy brokerage, which later was sold to private equity, and then Satori bought, and now Priority, right? So it kind of up that chain. But I was sitting on the surfboard, and I felt the sun on my feet underneath the water. It felt really powerful. I'm like, it just clicked in my mind. I wanted to figure out, solar. Lo and behold, I pretty much sunk every dollar trying to figure out how to do solar myself in Chicago at the time. Locally, we had done some small regional projects, learned the hard way, not a lot of experience flying people in and out of California. And I ended up doing some development work, high level, and a lot of brokerages are getting more sophisticated, and kind of trying to get into that space. But I all this private equity experience, and then so I could bring in the financing, and then I obviously had the clients. And so we started to do that, and that was fine. But I really struggled in, I wanted to do more. So invest in more funds, and was fortunate enough to start offering different products, combining heat and power, like just trying to make things work as any entrepreneur does. And what I learned was, having a brokerage, and full transparency, Navigate Power. Some of you or you do not know that I'm a founder of that business. Was that the brokerages really struggled in addressing some, we knew how to buy and manage, the buying experience, but we didn't really know how to generate on site. And I knew that was something that was coming down the pipeline. And so I created Verde Solutions 100% to cater towards partnerships like this. It makes it really simple, keeps it very high level, and really addresses things right off the bat. I'm fortunate to say I have dozens of brokers that I work with, many on the TIPA board with me. And they were all, some weren't, some knew my character, that I wouldn't risk, doing anything that would jeopardize my name or the brand. But many were skeptical, how am I going to, high level or not, get your customer information, send over bills so that you can properly do an analysis. And you also want to, a large brokerage out of Chicago. I can't do it. And I said, just give me a chance. I will, I've laid this out. It's a very clear non-circumvent. Your clients are your clients. It's Chinese walls between me and Brian's office. Forgive me. I apologize. Sorry, a wall, just a big wall. Sorry, I'm a kid in the 80s. But we say that in finance at Merrill Lynch. We have the banking and then the trading side. But in terms of what we can and cannot do, it is a very clear designation that any time there is we call a prospect information form through Marketplace that's filled out, that is your client. And, any agent that goes out about that and Navigate Power, one of our regional offices, if they come across that client, that's kind of off. That's we can't do it. And it's very transparent. We work very similar to how suppliers work, letters of exclusivity, and that it's a very standard. So we follow that precedent. But the goal is, and the stickiness behind creating this sort of value for your customers by putting solar panels on there. I have to say, those clients that we have at the brokerage, once you put solar panels on there, they're going nowhere, because they feel really indebted to you, because you've created this not only vehicle to do a permanent hedge for them, but you've also created a vehicle for them to champion sustainability. We do a really cool thing called Celebration we'll talk about, but full transparency and trust is everything. And I talked to Nate about this at length. It's something that we want to make sure I addressed. I've got, several references that you can reach out to that have had great experiences that are brokers. But I want to come right off the bat. My family owns Ultimus Capital, which is a holding company, and Navigate Power is one of those businesses, which is a brokerage. So being very transparent. But Verde Solutions itself was designed for brokers like you. So we have that commitment to non-circumvent exclusivity, and it is binding. It is something that we do not mess with because our reputation is at stake. Next slide, please.
Awesome. I was going to say, let's talk about, so that's important. Everybody knows that. Let's get that right on the table. So now all the cards are on the table. Let's talk about, how does this business doesn't look like a brokerage, right? This isn't like a brokerage that subcontracts out for some solar stuff and tries to make a spread. Like, explain what Verde really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the NRX project team. So we have a little over 100 employees at Verde Solutions. And this is the team that I've kind of designated really some of the cream of the crop of our top engineers, project engineers. Those are the key emails that you guys will be working with on a continuous basis. Ellis and Jason are on the call right now. They are the development directors that kind of help you get set up. We have an RFP specialist that works on RFPs. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. Everyone gets RFPs, they want to send them in. We don't really, we're going to have a separate training on that probably through NRX, just how we look at RFPs. Unless you have a relationship, we're just not, they take a lot of bandwidth to do. But yeah, I wanted to share you guys just the team that I've designated specifically around that and the contact key information. Verde Solutions, we've done over 2,800 projects in 48 states. So, we're fortunate. Motion Industries, all the Napa Auto Parts distribution centers and stores took us into a lot of those states. DHL, Southwest Airlines, a lot of the brands that and love every day. But we also do many municipalities and schools and things like that. We'll go on to the next slide, please. And so this is just how it's broken down. You have Ultimus level, which is, our CPAs. We have 2 CPAs, legal, all those sort of things. And then you've got Verde Solutions, which is really the engineering and development. So Blackstone, BlackRock, Brookfield, NextEra, those are our PPA offers. We use a couple PACE equity, PACE equity is one of them. We use Nuveen for PACE financing. And then a lot of the super regionals like KeyBank and Wintrust, they're really into this space. We have really great relationships with those institutions and can offer different financing solutions. So Verde really works on the engineering, development, and finance portion. And then Freshco Solar, what I was finding out the hard way as a developer and bringing in, investments and doing the engineering, that was only half of the puzzle. And it was really frustrating And many of you on this call have tried to do that sort of work yourselves, but then, to Nate's point, is that those subcontractors that, you hope you can test out and validate beforehand. Things happen. They prioritize their own projects. And what was happening is they were delivering projects late, which hurt me financially, and hurt my relationships with the people that brought that. So what I decided to do, we had a portfolio out of Michigan, and they executed just way above and beyond with speed, efficiency. So I knew I had to have them. No, so I pitched the founders and took a majority stake in Ultimus Capital in that business. And since then, we're self-installing projects around the country. We've shrunken our footprint just because the RV is getting a little bit older. No, I'm kidding. We actually do send them out in this really gorgeous vehicle, but Denver to Pittsburgh has been kind of the sweet spot. We do have a Fort Myers office and have a team in Florida just because of the volume that we're starting to have down there. And we're also, continually doing a lot in California, a lot of EV and solar going on right now. But that being said, we do fortunately have an excellent way to manage these projects. For the projects for DHL, we're flying out a smaller team, and they'll manage subcontractors. So you don't have to worry about that. I just wanted, if you see these names pop up on emails and things like that and reports, you knew what that was about. So next, Verde Solutions, guys. As I said, in 2012, found it really based on my experience at the brokerage level, needing to service this and wanting to give back in a big way. We've got NABCEP certified and OSHA certified staff with clean slate, which is really remarkable after 13 years. Not to say, things do happen in construction, but safety is paramount for us, which helps our insurance and our CPAs. If you guys have met Kim, she's really a stickler on that sort of stuff. Comprehensive analysis, one-time installations, the quality of our installs. We have non-for-profits and schools that are figuring out ways to get around legislation to do just design build with us. They're asking us who can hold their RFP, just so that we make sure that they want our quality. And so we have that reputation that you guys can feel confident bringing into your offering. Next. One thing that we really do, and we put it into the budget, and no, you can't back out of it and make more commission by not doing it. That's a question I've been asked by brokers. Imagine that.
I can't imagine.
No, you can't imagine that. So we do a solar abrasion. It helps us. It helps you guys. We do a press release, and it's around just the commitment to sustainability. We give all the metrics in terms of the cars off the road, metric tons of CO2 off, equivalent trees planted, and then we donate a large flat screen, at least one. For colleges, we've donated as much as 5. And what it'll do is it'll actually have your brand up there, which is pretty cool, along with Verde Solutions. And as students or people come in the lobby, they'll see your business, and they'll see, we have a dashboard so they can see the solar production go up and go down. In our fleet of over 2,000 installs, we had, when the eclipse came by, you saw the production drop across all of them. And I always get pictures of people just staring at it, guests of the firm. They usually put it in their lobby. And what we do is that we do a drone flyover. We do a drone flyover because a lot of times it's on the roof. And again, this is just part of it. This is part of the budget, but it really echoes what you want and helps you carry that message of the consultants that you truly are, because that's the biggest thing, is adding this to your repertoire is important, just in terms of a complete offering as an energy consultant firm. Great. You can check out some of those solar abrasions on the website. We have focused on giving back. that beautiful face right there, that little girl with her sucker, she is now 8. But that's Finley, and we do a really cool thing is whether it's for the residential firm, which we're not talking about, or anything with commercial, we're donating 1,000 meals for every installation that we do in partnership with Tony Robbins Foundation. And obviously we tag you guys on that as well. Charles Tillman, Cornerstone Foundation. I'm a professor, and you can tell that was a while ago, requiring that. It's an outdated photo, but it's something that we do focus on giving back and teaching them, getting them involved. We donate lockers of toys to families waiting for their kids to have transplants, things like that. And then I sit on the board for Digs with Dignity, which we basically take people off the streets and give them homes. So I want you guys to know that we make a commitment, and we're happy to participate with you guys. And if you have an interest in any of these are just part of what we do. Just to give you guys a greater context of the firm that you're working with. Next. Project experience. These are quick. Nate, you guys have seen pictures of projects. So, ground mounts, those are actual projects, and we kind of click in there. Wastewater treatment plants, all that sort of stuff are great areas. The reason that we brought them up there was just to kind of give you guys an idea of the size and scale behind the meter projects. So
Awesome. So I'm going to just jump back in here, and I know some of you are like, okay, I get it, solar. I want to jump back in and explain to you guys, how do you get to this marketplace thing that I was talking about earlier? And what does it mean? How is it that Sparkplug plays a role in managing these types of solutions? So number one, we have a new icon here in your top taskbar. That's the marketplace icon. When you click it, you'll see marketplace. We only have a handful of categories initially. This is a goal for us to build out additional categories. We'll also be bringing in all of the entire market of electricity and natural gas licensed suppliers. We've aggregated a universal list. We'll also be documenting how to create channel relationships with those suppliers as well. We really want this to be like a one-stop shopping place for you to find counterparties. As your customers have needs, you can go out and say, who can help me meet this customer's need in this area or this geography? And so eventually this will get even more sophisticated, filters by state and that kind of thing for who's a solution provider in this state for this type of solution, et cetera. But this is where we are today. And we're excited that kind of Verde is our launch partner, in a sense, first service provider in the platform. And so once you click into solar, you'll see different a company profile for Verde. And as you can see, there's some background information. I think there's maybe an embedded video, social, et cetera. And kind of zooming in on this profile, the way that you reach out to Verde to establish a relationship. So imagine like you wanted to build a new supplier relationship in New Jersey Gas, right? You'd have to go out and say who's serving New Jersey for gas, and then you'd have to go and get kind of an agreement with them in place so you feel comfortable sending them opportunities to price. This is the same setup here, right? You'll want to reach out to the Verde team, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'd like to understand, I want to see an example agreement, so on and so forth. Make sure you understand the legal kind of wrapper that's going to be there for you by having this relationship. And this is where you go to kind of kick that off. So we got a direct connect into the Verde team, as Chris just outlined before. And so that's kind of step one, is to kind of create your relationship with Verde or with any other marketplace solution provider. And I want to be clear on this from an NRX perspective. Just like we're not a box or a power kiosk, we're not a broker, we're not a solution provider, and we're not coming between you and your partners. So this isn't a partnership through NRX. You're not sleeving or anything like that. We don't affect your fee, nothing like that. So You connect with Verde directly. You guys negotiate your own commercial terms, your own contract, doesn't mention Interact, etc. And you guys do business directly. We're here to support the ecosystem, right? We look at it as supporting you, just like we support you with Constellation or support you with NRG or support you with AEP, right? We're trying to help you manage your whole business, not just, well, we put our retail supply deals in Sparkplug and then we keep all our other stuff in spreadsheets. So Sparkplug has expanded as well in a way that you may have seen. We just did a webinar, I want to say it was in the last 2 months, but we've kind of taken what was the consulting area in Sparkplug and transformed it into energy services. We felt like when we first started out with Sparkplug, you kind of had retail supply and then everything else. And there was just not enough consistency in terms of what people wanted to track, how they did commissions, who were their vendor partners. Where there was in retail supply, we just didn't have that in kind of the everything else category. And so we just called it consulting because it just meant I'm not being paid by a retail supplier, but I want to track these opportunities. And so we're looking to invest more and go deeper with this energy services capability. So we've transformed from consulting to energy services. And as you know, based on the type of service that you select, if you select a solar project, you can then go and pick a vendor. And so if you pick Verde, in this case, what you get is effectively Verde's intake form. So you don't have to key it in once for you to track the opportunity. You know, what's the square footage, et cetera, the energy characteristics, how are we financing it, you know, how old is the roof, all that kind of stuff that you would want to know for a solar project. But now you've got kind of a one-click option. Once you create the opportunity, by the way, nothing's happened yet. All you've done is tracked it in Sparkplug. When you're ready to send information to Verde, you come here and click send. And that's going to feed your opportunity directly to the Verde team to take it into their engineering process. So we feed directly and automatically into their engineering process. So they don't have to do a big rekey job either. They just get the information and they pick up the phone and reach out to you. And by the way, just so that you know, just so that you're absolutely sure what information you're sharing, you're going to explicitly name which customer contact you're going to share and what customer address information you're going to share. And so if you want to send like an anonymized opportunity, as you start to feel out this relationship, we allow you to do that. And again, when I say allow, I just mean we want to help people serve their customers and we want them to run their brokerage, their consultancy, their energy management firm on Sparkplug. That is our goal. And increasingly what we see is that people are building material additional services businesses in what used to just be a retail supply brokerage. And we want to give you a home for that data and a home for those opportunities, those contracts as well, just like we give you a home turnkey for retail supply. And we also want you to feel secure that your data is yours, just like it is with us. And when you share it, you know what's being shared, when it's being shared, and with whom it's being shared. And so we're starting out with that accountability and explicit sharing out of the gate. And so when you're sure, you click the send button and we share this information. Now, this is an email notification, but this is sort of belt and suspenders. So we push it into the Verde Solutions team has like an API effectively that we're able to push this directly into their engineering, pricing, specification, project kind of spec application. So that starts their workflow, but they get this thumbnail sketch kind of in an email as well. And this also allow you to connect with some, I don't know, maybe there's a tariff analysis guy that comes in and he doesn't have a system, he's working out of Excel. We can still sort of send him out, hey, this broker customer of Interact is reaching out to you. And so just so you know exactly what's being shared, what it looks like on the other side, what level of control you have, which is not only do you have to create it, then you have to click send, then you have to reaffirm what it is you want to send, and this is what it looks like on the other side. They don't have a login to your Sparkplug. They don't have it doesn't show up in their database anywhere. Again, only what you direct to share. We understand the level of sensitivity in this industry around customer data. We better than anyone else. We're double audited. You know, it's obviously a top concern is data security, and we've gone out of our way to make sure that you guys are secure in what's being shared. And so just to kind of explain, put this in kind of a diagram, um, the first step is you create this energy services opportunity in Sparkplug. So you go and you create an energy services opportunity, as I just showed you. Next, you decide, I want to send this to my vendor. I want to share this opportunity information, again, optionally with or without contact info. If you just want to send the picture of the project and let's get on the phone, I want to make sure I get comfortable and then I can disclose who the customer is. That's your option. So once you decide to send it, as I just explained, we've got sort of an email and API connect to the engineering software that's used to spec out solar projects, cost them out, do the kind of analysis that's necessary, looking at feasibility and cost of build and all that stuff. So that feeds the vendor intake process. If you choose to move forward, you would execute that project together. At some point, you generate a commission. Again, that's between you guys to work out how you get paid, what you get paid, all that. We don't have a stake in that. And then last is when you get those commissions, Sparkplug has a place for you to log those commissions, just like you would log your retail supplier commissions back in Sparkplug. So that's there today for you. You can go out and use those capabilities right now. When you get off this webinar, we pushed out the new solar opportunity management into Sparkplug today, or last night actually. And Marketplace is there so you can start to reach out. Where we're going next is we're going to roll out a feature. You might say, well, look, I've got 1,200 customers across 4 states. I can't go click through every one of them. I've got, sales agents that have those relationships. How am I supposed to sort of know even where to start? So that's another thing that we're working on right now. This is not released yet, but this is what's coming. And that's what we want to give you, basically like an energy services opportunity identification report. That's kind of a mouthful, probably won't be called that. But we basically want to help you identify where's my low-hanging fruit in my customer portfolio, where there's the most opportunity and potentially the highest potential monetization opportunities for me, and the greatest value for those customers, where there's an incentive or something like that. But we're going to use some heuristics to try and proactively identify those. And so that's what's coming next for Marketplace. So with that, imagine that we just put in an opportunity, we click send. I wanted to ask Chris to kind of take us through. I just sent you this thing. What's going on at Verde? Somebody got an email, something shows up in your system. Where do you guys take it from there?
Thank you, Nate. So as soon as that hits, we're actually there's a couple of people that are notified that's in the inbox. The new opportunity is that goes into our project management software that we actually utilize only for leads, but some construction inputs. And so it's that API is populated and the opportunity is looked at and evaluated. And then we have those key engineers that are tied to this opportunity, and they evaluate what we're looking at, what we're missing, and you have a channel success manager, Jason Stutzman, who will then reach out and walk through any questions that they might have specifically before it gets into the engineering phase. We get all those questions answered. If there's any additional data that is required, we receive that. Again, this is really top of funnel. We're looking for this basic information and a date 2 weeks out to set up a presentation. And that once we have that date set, that kind of, gets things going. There might be a confirmation call just if we pull it up on engineering and we're trying to understand just some of the guidelines on potential areas that could be utilized that were not, reasons why, roof ages, things like that. Those are always big. We don't want, we have opportunities. We have roofers across the country, so it's not a deterrent not to go after these opportunities. But just as a firm, we do not want to install on systems on roof systems that are 10 years or older. Typically, there's spray-on coatings, things that you can do that are a lot less than adding a whole new EBPM layer or TPO EDPM. Sorry, guys. All the acronyms are jumbled up this morning. But roof warranty, if it's in place, making sure that we're not going to void that warranty. Then the labor requirements. Like I said, we have a Department of Labor apprenticeship program. We fulfill a lot of those. We're inequity eligible. We have 60% of our staff in equity eligible areas. We qualify for all sorts of extra incentives. So we just want to make sure those are aligned in the financial model. You know, one thing really important to consider, similar to getting pricing, right, with someone that hasn't been paying their utility bill. It's really hard to get financing and go to a PPA financier or even a super regional if they've been losing money for a long time. So I know businesses get in that situation, but just something to consider as you bring these opportunities to us. BlackRock, Blackstone, they typically like systems of 400 to 500 kW and above. So, around 1,000 panels, right around there. Available financing, we have purchase power agreements, solar leases, solar loans, cash purchase we work with, and that's, through local financing, construction financing, and then PACE financing for anything, unfortunately, that has gone up from 2 to 5 million just in the last couple of years. But you work in roof and things like that, these are very achievable numbers. Again, for those, it's usually need around 3 years audited financials, at least compiled, if you're a private business. And long story short is we get creative where we can. And anyone that has a tax basis usually gets those really strong PPAs, purchase power agreements, where a third party will own it, and then they're obligated, the end user, to buy the energy off of that system. And then just in terms of areas, I just put this farm up there as a project, that the Sondergrath farm, but we are heavy into ag. They're great because typically they have areas to put them on the ground. If they do want them on the roof, no problem. And just in terms of what we're doing, we're ballasting projects. We have, attachments. We're doing roof mounted systems. We're doing floating arrays. So, it's very diverse. It's not just putting them with a bunch of clamps on the roof anymore. And we have experts in each of those areas. Next, please. So we offer a white label solution, which is important. This is one of our vendors that has sent a lot of work with us. They're a big lighting contractor throughout the country, doing Air France and things like that. They tried to go themselves the solar route and came back around after seeing some of our work. And they use us exclusively for all their solar development across the country. This one just happens to be in Illinois, but you can see it was important that they represent their brand, and they use the Powered by Verde solutions. So that's capable. We use your logo, we combine that, and can do that as well. Some people don't want to, as much as you might trust me, don't want to mix. It'd be like, hey, we're your energy consultant, and we vetted this company out by a lot of people in our industry, the Verde Solutions, because that's where the contract is coming from. So, we want to work with you. Put the ego to the side. If you want to champion your logo on the presentation, front and center, that's no problem. The contract, though, will be with Verde Solutions because we hold all the bonding, the insurance requirements, and things like that. So I've been asked if you guys can get paid and pay us. That's just not possible. Go on. This is just I just did a rundown in the last year of a couple of the commissions that we paid out, because in the end, that's why you guys are here, is to figure out how you guys actually make money on this. Airport cargo building, 81,000 for a little over a megawatt. JFK Airport cargo, 390,000. That's a big one, 4.3 megawatts. 62,000 in Boston. These are our typical sizes, guys. Our average size is about just a little over 1.1 megawatts. So manufacturing center in Michigan, that was a little bit more because of the battery. We obviously make money on the battery as well. That was 57,000. So You guys can see this, data centers are great. We typically are doing a lot of frequency battery work with them as well. That was 183,000. And this is all they're doing. This is what you do. You go into marketplace, you fill that out, you set a meeting, you attend that first meeting, or you don't. I still am going to pay that commission, but that form that you fill out in marketplace locks you into this commission. And I'm going to explain how that is calculated on the next sheet there. And those are all actually project images that we've done, by the way. So project overview, just give you a typical, a little bit under, be a little bit conservative. So total project value, 2,250,000 for 1 megawatt with gross profit calculation of about 6. We try to go in around 30%. We get a little bit thinner when it's competitive as needed, but that's typically where we want to land. So approximately 675,000 we're looking for. And we take just overhead deduction. It's actually higher. I'm not good at a lot of things, but I'm really good at hiring excellent engineers, CPAs, and lawyers, but they are super expensive. And to keep them here in the Midwest instead of getting moved to California. But that being said, our overhead calculation, we take that 30% of gross profit just for overhead, people working on the team. So the net profit on this particular project is about 472,000. Broker commission calculation, we start off at full transparency. And again, just because people are going to set other terms and supply, I get all that works. I just want to be transparent. You start at 20% broker commission amount on net. And that accounts to about, just for an introduction and bringing these farms, about a $94,000 commission, which is, I think, awesome for literally 20 minutes of work. And commission as a percentage of that, it's about 4.2%. So, and what I want to offer is if anyone, puts on 5 deals with us and to contract, that will be bumped up to 25%, which is the max. And so I just want to throw that out there. And what I'll do is I'll retroactively go back and give you additional commission on those previous jobs as well. So it's not like, it's something to aim for. But you guys are all business owners, run these businesses. I know you guys are right off the gate. I'm just not going to do it. So you don't have to worry about the next person doing it. You start off at 20, and you end up obviously going to 25 if you have it. I want to kind of make it universal. I do have a lot of friends on the call in the industry, but I really feel based on my competition that this is a pretty aggressive. So 94,500, 4.2% of gross. People always wonder what 20% of net is. Obviously, if you're at 25%, you're just going to add another percent and a half. All right, that's commission. That's how you guys get paid. A technical solution. Just to reiterate, guys, we are currently focused on these rooftop mounts and ballasting them whenever we can. And it is a solution that allows for roof life to stay. That's an actual project. What's unique is it adds roof life. So this is just an example of what we present. And we have 3 minutes. So I'm going to fly through this. Modules, inverters. Here's the thing is a salesman is not going to jump on and sell your clients. It's going to be an engineer, and the engineer. So we have sales engineers. So what's great about it is they've actually touched the project and can speak to all the higher end interconnections and things. And it gives us a leg up on our competition. Next. So we actually handle the incentives, turnkey. The only thing is in this particular project, which we won was a high school, the direct pay, we help them and their CPAs. We have 2 CPAs on staff, but obviously not-for-profits can take advantage of this direct pay as well. Next. I'll try to fly through this. All customers get a Gantt chart of what it looks like, typically 9 to 12 months. It is a good ballpark, We'll do projects in 6 months or less, but we like to manage expectations 9 to 12 months, unless, it's a school or college and like there's something that they need to do, we can bump it up. Obviously there's a little bit of premium in there, but in that little premium, you make a little bit more money as well. So, but don't try to force everything in by end of year. And then, this is just a breakdown of the cash flows. These are all bankable numbers. With assumptions and utility inflation rate. The consultant that we worked for this particular job wanted to set inflation rate at 2%. Our default's about 4%, and that's increasing slightly. We take a 10-year average, but we take 20 years of weather data, and we triangulate the address for cloud cover, rain. The software that we utilize is all utilized throughout the industry, and so we can take these models and go to a financier, and they 100% understand that based on the equipment and engineering, this is what's going to perform. And so your customers should feel really confident as well. Next. Safety, I'll fly through these. Housekeeping, traffic, like we take all these things into consideration. Core PPE, just, we have safety meetings before and after. It's important. Next. Next step, some milestones. So we have a kickoff call every time with the project management team, the lead engineer, and then we walk them through the timeline, the incentives, and when we submit images to them throughout the project, and those images obviously can be shared with you if you want. Some of our consultant partners rather kind of stay out of it. They just want to know when to pick up their check, and we're happy with that as well. That's it. Pre-install, email,
Chris?
all that sort of stuff. That's all there. But
Cool.
we're at our time.
We did get one
any
question
questions?
just to
Yeah.
close us out. Does Verde also partner with brokers on EV opportunities? So you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we do. We only do level 3 only at this point. We have a partnership where we're doing a bunch of Marriotts, where we're doing a lot of level 2s, but they're dozens per install. Just because of how busy we are on the solar and battery, we try to keep it level 3 only.
Cool. Well, listen, I appreciate everybody on the call for joining. NRX customers, thank you so much for your business. Let me just take a chance to say some words of appreciation. Thank you for trusting NRX, as you have, many of you, for 10 plus years, a handful, maybe 15. So it's really been great doing business with the best of the industry, people I know that I could refer my mom to, and they would take care of her. There's not a whole lot of those people, and I'm glad to have most of them as my customers today. So I think about Chris and kind of the same way. And honestly, the fact that Verde has already done partnering with brokers, has worked the kinks out of that model, was really important to me. The national footprint. So it's not like, well, we can help you in ERCOT, but we can't really help you in New York. We really wanted to launch with a firm that could more or less cover the entire country. 48 states. That's pretty much the entire country in my book.
Well, the funny
Not a
thing
lot of
is
solar in Alaska.
Hawaii and Alaska are both of those.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not the lower 48. People always ask me that. So Vermont and Wyoming.
yeah. Hey, when you're going to open your Maui office, just let me know. I'll
Yeah,
come
I'd
for
love that.
the big unveiling. So thanks so much for trusting me and trusting Interact. If you have any questions, feel free to follow up via email. I can stay on for a minute if anybody wants to specifically ask some questions
Yeah, I can
in
stay
the
on.
Q&A. But other than that, we're a wrap, and we'll make additional information available. And check with your CSM if you have any questions on Marketplace. There's already a help file documenting this. If you go into Zendesk and you look at the help documentation that's available, we'll walk you through how to get this set up and rolling inside of your Sparkplug. And unless there are any other questions, we'll hang out for just a second. Oh, looks like we did get a few. Okay. Can you share the recorded webinar? We will be sharing the recorded webinar so that anybody who wasn't able to make it can participate. Oh, I forgot to mark that as answered live. We will be sharing the webinar in case anyone wants to see it who wasn't able to participate. We've got another question. What is the value of going with Verde versus one of the bigger solar companies like Tesla or Sunrun? I
Thank you so
imagine
much
that's
for
like teed up for
asking.
you.
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. So right off the bat, like number one, Sunrun, if you just look them up, I think Sunrun and Tesla don't offer this sort of commercial side. If you want to get into residential, that's a whole nother game. In itself, I have a solar firm within the portfolio. Uh, just the responsiveness. You can contact, they don't really care about you. No offense. But they are selling so many batteries, and their commercial division is so stacked right now with the AI world. You are never going, and I don't know anyone that has a brokerage relationship that can account for anywhere near the commission that we're willing to pay. But to my knowledge, both of those companies, Sunrun, obviously being a residential firm, they might give you like a $500 referral or something like that. But yeah, it's a completely different model.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for the questions, folks. Any more questions, you can reach out to Chris directly, me directly, your customer success manager. If you have anything, we're happy to follow up, provide any resources. I know at least Chris and I are pretty open books. Anything you want, we're ready to chew the fat with you and figure it out. As entrepreneurs, there's nothing off the table. So let's, well, other than things that don't make money, right? We all need to win, and we all need to bring value to our customers. And that's really what webinars like this, partners like Verde, features like Marketplace, we're trying to bring more value and frankly differentiate our platform in our marketplace, which is software for the retail energy industry, and try to blaze some new paths. So I hope this is valuable for you. Thanks again for your time, everyone. And we'll say that's a wrap. Have a
Thank you.
great rest of your week.